The Man with the Yin-Yang Eyes. Season 2. Episode 27. After kicking off the dummy's head impersonating Big D, I slowly approached and picked it up to take a closer look. This way of the mage is very skillful, can both hurt me without acting directly, and through this, I can see his vile nature. While I was examining the dummy's head, suddenly from upstairs came Big D's shout. I immediately threw the paper head away, ran straight up to Big D's room. As soon as I walked up to the room, I saw Big D flying out the door. When I looked closely, I could see that he was knocked out by someone. At this time, Big D's face was extremely bewildered, because the person attacking him also had 2 blades in his hand. At this moment, Big D looks very scared. He always apologizes to me for tricking me into sleeping on the sofa. Hearing what Big D said made me feel strange. It was not a big deal that made Big D both scared and apologetic. I immediately ran over to help Big D stand up. At this point, I looked into the room. It turned out that Big D's attacker was also a paper dummy but in my shape. Big D doesn't detect that. He thought I was upset because he cheated, so I rushed to attack him in the middle of the night. I immediately told Big D to calm down and explained that what was attacking him was just a paper dummy. Suddenly seeing 2 Gregorys in front of him, Big D felt even more bewildered when attacked. He grabbed my collar with one hand, and his eyes turned from me to the dummy. Indeed, the dummy is so delicate that it is difficult to detect with the eye. Thinking for a moment, he said, "If you are really Gregory, then tell me something that only you and I know each other." "Stop it. What a secret. You said you were on patrol, but let someone else drop these 2 dummies into the house without knowing anything. You don't have to check. You ask the 2 dummies if they can talk." Hearing what I said, Big D immediately realized that I was not fake. He was also a little embarrassed when he let the enemy into the house without knowing it. "Take advantage, we are talking." The Gregory dummy charged at us in the blink of an eye. I could easily dodge, but Big D was taken by surprise, so he froze. Seeing that, before leaning over to avoid the blade, I used my foot to kick Big D to the side, so that Big D avoided the dummy's sharp blade. I rushed to attack the dummy right after that, which was even harder to deal with than the Big D dummy I just destroyed. Perhaps when creating these dummies, the mage somehow gave them the abilities of the person they incarnated. Although this dummy doesn't have my full potential, it can't take it down quickly either. I and the other dummy attacked each other continuously, but neither side hit the target. Because this dummy simulates me, my attack and dodge are exactly the same, making me extremely uncomfortable. But unlike me, this dummy basically doesn't mind getting hurt, so it just needs to attack without paying much attention to defense. That's why many times, I thought my life was lost at the hands of this dummy. While I still didn't know how to defeat the dummy in front of me, Big D ran over and shouted, "Gregory, step aside." I immediately turned around and saw Big D approaching, a shotgun in his hand. Big D quickly passed me and then aimed straight at the dummy and pulled the trigger. The dummy was immediately shot to pieces. As soon as the dummies were destroyed, I told Big D to immediately search around, and definitely find the person who controls these dummies. Because to control the dummy, the mage couldn't be too far away from the dummy. Big D also knew that what I said was true. He immediately ran out with me to check. But after searching for a while, there is no trace of the man who controls the dummy. In front of us now is just an empty street. Knowing that I couldn't use normal methods to deal with this enemy, I took off my glasses. Because I know that those who use witchcraft, when acting, will lead wandering ghosts to him, then he will control them. As expected, as soon as I took off my glasses, I saw a strong evil aura emanating from a white car parked near us. I immediately told Big D. We both cautiously approached the car to have a look. When approaching the car, I signal to Big D to open the door suddenly, and Big D will use a gun to control the person inside. Big D immediately nodded to indicate that he understood. We got into a position to prepare for action. We were both smitten, not knowing what was behind this door waiting for us. I slowly reached my hand towards the door. My hand pressed the button to open the door. The evil spirit immediately emitted even stronger than before. I immediately used my hand to signal Big D. After counting to 3, I will jerk the door. Big D looks at me and nod. But before I could count to 3, the door burst open, followed by a flock of bats rushing out, rushing towards us. Look at their appearance. It can be seen that these bats are blood-sucking bats, so they are extremely aggressive. The bats flew out more and more. They aggressively charged at me and Big D. But I quickly discovered these bats are just paper dummies. They have been enchanted before to fly and attack people. Faced with ferocious bats, Big D continuously fired bullets at them. The bullets shot out. There were many bats hit by bullets. As soon as they were hit, the bats immediately caught fire and fell to the ground. Right after that, they returned to their original form as lifeless paper dummies. Seeing what happened in front of me, I can say that the user of this witchcraft has reached an extremely high level, because it is not easy to control so many dummies at once. While Big D uses the gun in his hand to destroy the bats, my only weapon is the exorcism coins, but these coins proved to be very effective against these bats. We both slowly handled them one by one. When the last bat was destroyed, we slowly approached the car to see if we could spot any clues. It was not unexpected. Inside the car was a magic table. The mage was here to control the dummy to attack me and Big D. After discovering the dummy was destroyed, he immediately left. When approaching the magic table, Big D discovered that there were 2 human-shaped talismans on the table in addition to the tools for poetry. The names of me and Big D were clearly written. Holding 2 talismans in his hand, Big D angrily said, "It must have been caused by that staff-wielding mage. These guys are so cowardly, they don't dare to face it directly, but only dare to use these dummies and play sneaky tricks." Hearing what Big D said, I just kept silent, not sure if they were afraid to face it. Maybe they were playing a game of cat and mouse with us. After getting out of the car, I said to Big D, "There's really no way to find out who's behind the dummies. You must know that the dummies will automatically find their owner after being enchanted if there is no damage. We just destroyed my dummy, and your dummy is still well intact. With just a little tweaking, it can be used as a guide." So we immediately went back to the house. Then I started to restore the Big D dummy. I used glue and paper to repair the damaged areas on the dummy's face. Although this dummy is used for bad purposes, it must be admitted that the person who made it is extremely skillful and meticulous. But as soon as I saw it, I could not recognize it as a dummy. When I restored the dummy, Big D was watching. While he wasn't paying attention, I inserted a needle in the middle of his forehead. Suddenly, when I was stabbed in the forehead with a needle, Big D was immediately startled. His face paled at my action. Too surprised, Big D immediately shouted. Seeing that he was about to raise his hand to pull out the needle, I immediately stopped him, explaining that I did so to restore the dummy. While Big D was still bewildered, I inserted 2 more needles into his chest. After Big D calmed down, we both stood silently looking at the dummy lying on the table. But after waiting for a while, there was still no movement on the dummy, and I began to doubt whether I did something wrong at any step. I was about to go and check the dummy when suddenly it jumped up. The head I broke was reattached, but it couldn't be like the original, so it was tilted back. Because this dummy is made very delicately, it looks like a real person, so the situation at this time looks quite scary. After getting up, the dummy just stood still. I immediately approached to recite the incantation to control the dummy to find its owner. The magic took effect. The dummy started walking towards me and Big D. Its action was like smelling the two of us. After a while, it found out that Big D and I were not its owners. It snarled towards us for a while as if to attack us, but then it quieted down and turned to go out. But when he reached the doorstep, the dummy stopped as if it was determining the direction. I watched it for a while, and I saw that the dummy's face gradually became fierce, and then suddenly it rushed away. I guess it discovered its owner's location. Big D and I immediately ran to the car, because the dummy's speed is very fast, and moreover, it doesn't get tiring, so we can't run after it. Hurry up, it's running in there, hurry and follow it. Seeing the dummy running into a small alley, I immediately urged Big D, do you want to drive? Do you know how difficult it is to chase after it? The dummy wriggled through the small roads and ran, making it extremely difficult for Big D to follow it. To avoid losing track of it, Big D tried his best to wriggle the car in the small road. He even crashed into the trash cans on the side of the road. Looking at Big D's sad face now, I guess he's worried about his car. We then chased the dummy to a pier, where there were many warehouses with a large area. This place was an ideal place to choose as a hiding place. Going a little further, we see the dummy entering a warehouse in front of us. We know that inside the other warehouse is not simple, so we always have to be on high alert. Big D immediately stopped the car. He turned to me to discuss. Or we report to the police. We two idiots burst in on our own. If we're not careful, they'll kill us and kill our mouths. Hearing Big D say that, I know he's worried, which can't be blamed on him, but now that the dummy has returned, the person controlling it must know that we have followed us here. I was afraid that by the time the police arrived, he would have disappeared. After some persuasion, Big D finally agreed with me to enter the warehouse. Although somewhat embarrassed, Big D understood that this must be done sooner or later. There is no way back once this is reached. The two of us cautiously approached the door of the warehouse. Now Big D had a gun in hand, ready to shoot down anything that came. For me, I can only put my trust in my two fists. I slowly and cautiously pushed open the warehouse door, and Big D raised his gun in anticipation. As soon as we entered the door, a strong smell of death hit our noses, and both Big D and I were amazed at what we were seeing. In the warehouse at this moment was a shrine, which looked like a funeral, but there was no coffin. I immediately wondered, where did that strong smell of death come from? Looking at the worship photo at the end of the hall, Big D immediately recognized that this was the person who murdered Wang's sister and was killed by Wang many years ago. I immediately felt strange. Why did that dummy lead us here? I immediately looked around to find out where the strong smell of death was coming from. When I looked up, the scene on the ceiling startled me. Seeing that, Big D also tilted his head to look up. His face was also immediately pale because many corpses are hanging on the ceiling right now.